So that's again something as you're researching graduate programs. That's a good question to ask the faculty in the program. How much do they weigh experience? That's certainly a question that they'd be prepared to address.
The other piece with experience too is that it also shows that you know what you're talking about getting into that particular discipline. So it gives them a lot more ability to have confidence that you're going to do well in the program because you'll know what it is you're getting into, as opposed to people who really don't have as much experience. There's more of a chance. The faculty are taking more of a chance on you that you may continue on or you may not, depending on how you find that. So to some degree, that experience just allows them to be a little bit more solid in the decision to award, funding and to give up a spot, especially in those programs that are accredited and that are capped by accreditation standards, which is another thing that you're going to want to be asking about in different programs. For instance, a lot of counseling programs and clinical programs will have accreditation caps, and there's a set number of faculty to student ratio that they have to keep in order to maintain their accreditation. That can have an impact on the competitive nature of that applicant pool as well. Undergrad academic record, it's really important in some programs, and for some of them they'll look at your overall GPA. For some they're going to look at your overall and your within major GPA. You want to talk a little bit more about that? I think some of your doctoral programs are very specific in looking at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the things that you need to go through and look at program by program. Even within our doctoral programs, each of them seems to have a different rubric for how they calculate that. I think it's important to be aware, though, that some programs are concerned with an overall undergraduate GPA, and others are much more concerned with the GPA that involves the courses within that specific program they are applying to. Occasionally, that may be one of the things that actually isn't on the department's websites, which is probably best to ask to probably either the grad admissions offices if you can't find it on the website. We've got some programs I know that even go so far as to have a formula where they plug the GPA in and they plug the GRE scores in, and it comes out with some sort of a rating.
We do as well. Yeah, there's an actual quantitative rubric that they use that puts you at a certain place. Part of that too is that the overall GPA can be impacted by sort of the freshman stumbling block sometimes that happens. Sometimes a student will have a particularly difficult semester or something as they're acclimating to school, or there's something that goes on in your life and whatnot that can kind of haunt you a little bit and pull your GPA down. It's not unheard of, and sometimes is very helpful to put a cover letter if there's something that you're concerned about with your GPA, to actually put something in that would explain that situation. Not that you have to get into the nitty-gritty details of your life, but something that just says that you understand that this is low and that this is maybe what you've learned from that semester or something, and sort of couch it in some kind of context that can be helpful.
And related to what Robin said, I think that, I'm not sure if we're going to talk down here, but if you were to plot your undergraduate performance over the course of 4 years, it's much more important to be sort of going on an upslope than becoming the other way. If your worst 2 years are your junior and senior year, that's going to spell trouble.
Yeah. Okay, questions?
I have a question
Sure.
about the academic record. So the transcript you sent, does that include senior year performance?
That's a good question. The question was, when you're sending in your transcripts to graduate programs, should they include your senior year performance? Programs that you're applying to are going to understand that you're still in the course of completing your undergraduate record, so they'll want the most current transcript that you can produce. As an admissions office, the admissions office and the university are going to want proof that you did successfully complete that undergraduate degree. And so once you've received your degree, you should request a final copy of the transcript to be sent to the school that you're going to be matriculating at.
Well, we actually do, and I think you folks do too, is your offer of admission, we call it a conditional admission. It's contingent upon successful completion of your, much like going to undergrad. You had to finish high school successfully for them to keep having you there, but you don't have to have your final grades, obviously, in order to apply to programs. So that's an important thing to know. Then the other piece is that I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
No, go ahead.
In terms of applying to PhD programs, don't they kind of have a disadvantage already because they're applying straight from senior year of undergraduate, rather than having some work experience or a master's degree? And do they expect lots of applications from, college seniors already without having any work experience?
So really the question was about applying straight out of your undergrad, and correct me if I get this wrong, but applying straight out of your undergraduate degree to a graduate degree. Are you at a disadvantage there because you don't have the
doctoral degree, not a master's.
Right,
so.
the doctoral degree, yeah. I'm going to say that depends on the program. I mean, for some programs, that's really the norm. So that the majority of people who are applying are actually applying straight out of an undergrad degree.
Yeah.
Now, if that's not the case, and you're applying to a program which historically has had people with 5 to 6 years of clinical experience about something, and that's what they want to see, then applying straight out of an undergrad degree is going to be a completely different issue. But I think as you're doing your homework on that, you'll get a sense of that. You'll get a sense of knowing.
Yeah, unless, the one that comes to mind frequently is the MBA program. It's not a doctoral program, but oftentimes they're expecting work experience before applying to a master's degree. I don't think that's the case in most doctoral programs, with the possible exception of doctoral programs in education. There are many where they expect you to be in the classroom for a period of time before you actually apply to the doctoral program.
And it's funny, you keep saying that about the MBA, and ours will take people right out of undergrad. So it just depends. I mean, obviously within the same state school system, the program requirements are different.
But most doctoral programs are actually set up. I mean, many of them are expecting research experience as an undergrad, but they're not expecting you to get experience between your undergrad program and when you apply to grad school.
What would you say is the value of visiting a school that you're considering for grad school? Because I know, like with undergrad, they really emphasize that it's important to visit because there's all this stuff about student life and where you're living and the other people you'll be with and all that. And I know that it's a little bit different with graduate school, but like in terms of admission, is it more helpful if you go and visit, or just what's your experience?
My experience would be that it's different at the graduate level. I think that's really true, because really what you're looking at the grad level is more program-based than the sort of wider kind of thing. You really need that program to be on a huge fit with you. That being said, you want to be happy with where you are, so if you can visit, I think that can be important. Often programs will have program information sessions and things like that. If it's something that's local to you and you can find those types of opportunities, that's a real helpful way as well to get some of that more bureaucratic and even some of the curricular piece